Okay, so I know I said my next video was going to be exhaust repairing on the Camaro, but instead I got some new tires on that and didn't get around to doing the exhaust. What we are going to do is the rear struts on this Neon, and I've already gotten the wheel taken off, and those were done with, believe it or not, an 18 will fit over these uncapped lugs. So 18 is probably what you should be using. But I don't have an 18 impact, so I use my 19 millimeter impact to kind of bust those loose. And then when you bust them loose, you only bust them loose and then pull off, or you're going to get those stuck on. It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. So I think if it actually had its cap, it would be a 19, but 18 without the cap. So, and then I pulled the drum off. Brakes look in decent shape. The other side, the brakes were completely disintegrated in there and fallen apart. Pieces and springs had fallen loose. I already did the other side earlier. So, first things first, once you bust the wheel off, there's a 10 millimeter bolt that goes through the back. This guy goes through here and holds this bracket for the brake hose on. Take that off. Inside the trunk here, when you pull back the liner, way in there you'll see the three 13 millimeter dealios that hold the top of the strut in place. There they are, 13 millimeter. However, we aren't going to loosen those yet. We'll do that last. We'll let the strut fall after we take these things off. And the nut side is 18. This is a 15. And note that the top one is eccentric, so it is used for alignment, so you're going to need an alignment after you do the rear struts. Because unlike the BMW, which has a cam lobe, a big cam on the bolt head side, this one is internal. The actual shaft is eccentric, and you'll see what that looks like when I pull it out. So there's no real way to tell what it's doing in there. You'll just have to get your wheels aligned after you change it, because there's no way to take a picture and look at where the cam is, since it's not that way, isn't built like the BMW. So I got these bolts out now, and so this car is all freaking ghetto rigged, because these are the two bolts that comes out on this passenger side, which are these normal bolts. So you'd pull the nuts off on this side, on the rear side, and then you just hammer the bolts out. No big deal, because they got this little dealios in there where they're kind of, you hammer back, and when you go back to reinstall them, you're going to hammer them in. All right, but now that's all done. We can just pull this thing off and then take the 13s out from up in there, and then we're going to progress. All right, struts out, and as you can see, there's a little R there. It tells you this is the right side. There was one on the other side that said L for left. There's an arrow pointing to which side goes out. And then we're going to line up the arrow, this notch, all the springs and everything on the way down with some of my paint, as soon as I figure out where my paint marker is. All right, we're painted. Boom. All right. We're going to liquid wrench the fuck out of this. And if I remember correctly, on the replacement one, this was a 10 mil. I have to see what that is. And then this was a 21, I think. Let me check on that before I confirm, because I know the replacement size was much different than the factory size. Okay, that's correct. The big huge nut in there is the 21, and on the replacement it was a 19. So that's why I have these guys, because I'll be needing those when it comes time to put them back on. But for this, I can break this off with the impact. I'll just kind of get some vice grips and clamp on the dealio in there, and then we'll bust that off after we clamp the springs with the spring compressors. All right, got it back in. Pretty self-explanatory. Put your clamps on, top 3 on one side, bottom 3 on the other side. Press the spring, bust the thing off. And then when you go to put the new one on, put these on first. I just kind of bashed them through here so it was straight. and then wiggled it around until the 3 holes got where they needed to go. Added jack underneath to kind of jack up and assist there, and then you just go in from the interior, from the inside of the trunk, torque down your 313s, and now we're ready to put this back together, put the wheel back on, after we put the drum on, of course, and then that's it. Boom, done. That's how you change the rear struts on an 05 Dodge Neon. Pretty easy.
The next day.
And now here's a look at that hardcore negative camber on this side. See? Gnarly. Way too much camber. So that needs to be replaced with a factory bolt, I think, because I've already adjusted it to where I thought was right. It looked right. I backed it up and then turned the wheel, and then that happened. So I don't know. I guess this thing's gonna need a new bolt, a factory bolt put in there, and then new brakes. I don't know. This thing's really starting to piss me off, though. To this side, just to show you what it's doing. First things first is I have those uncapped lugs, which we will replace with 5 nice new capped ones at 19 millimeter. I bought these for her. I can't remember if it was for Christmas, her birthday, or Valentine's Day. One of those 3. In any case, she hasn't put them on yet, so I guess I'll do that. I've been slowly but surely taking all the wheels off of each car and putting them on. This is the last one. This is the last 5. So what I wanted to mainly show you guys is, so you'll see that this nut and bolt combination on the bottom looks familiar. 15, 18, pointing out the back. But this guy up here is a 15. The 18 is facing this direction, backwards. And this is the eccentric bolt. Now, I didn't get around to explaining as well last time, but taking this bolt out so now you can see what it looked like. See if I can get a good focus on it. See how those things focus, you piece of crap. So that thing's off center, rotated around in there where the strut assembly was. Then it was backwards where the nuts on this side and the heads on this side in there like that. And while I got this over here, here's how bad the brakes are, as you can see on this side. No pad, no shoe, no nothing left, and a bunch of spring innards are missing. So a bunch of that fell out. That explains why your pedal sinks to the floor, because when you press her pedal all the way to the floor, this stuff just goes out and doesn't touch anything. So that's why we got that excessive movement. I don't see how she drives this car. It's unsafe. So she needs to get me these stuff so I can replace this stuff. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to adjust the eccentric. But okay, I think we're finally back for the last time. So back together again. No more negative camber. See, got just a little bit now. Not like a gnarly amount. What I ended up doing was... So I ended up, because I saved all the parts from the BMW, I did its suspension. I took, I believe, one of these, and then maybe one of these. Anyway, I saved all the nuts and bolts. And I found one from the BMW that was, looked like it was the correct diameter it would fit in. It didn't go with the original Neon nut here. The thread pitch was different, so there's a completely different bolt in there now. It was from the E38, the original E38 suspension, whenever I replaced it, because I had all new these nuts for the strut, for the clamp part. So I saved the old ones just in case I ever needed them. Today was that day. So okay, I think we're fixed for now until she can get the factory nut and bolt from Dodge, but this will do for now. It's definitely much better than it was, and this is probably within acceptable range of negative camber, I would think. We shouldn't have too much excessive tire wear, so I think we're good. So what an ordeal this has been. This side sucked because of all that crap. The other side was fine, and if those knuckleheads at the damn brake shop hadn't screwed this brake up, I wouldn't have to go and do all this either, because that side you saw was fine. This side's all jacked up. What happened with that was she took it to Midas, I think, and they did the rear brakes but they had a vice grips. It was clamped onto the hose, and she figured that out when she got home. She noticed that this was smoking, and she went underneath the car and found a vice grips clamped onto the brake hose. So she unclamped it and called them back, like, no, I probably didn't do anything, it's fine. And coincidentally enough, now this side's completely destroyed and that side's not, so I have a sneaking suspicion they're the ones that are causing me to have to do all this damn work that I don't feel like doing, but whatever. Bottom line is, we're good for now. Next video coming up, boom. Rear drum brakes on this Neon. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.